we are so excited to have clients, platform owners, and prospects on today's webinar. Dan and Harry are a part of our client marketing team. And I think we're good to get started. Do you guys want to get going? Oh, go FAU Owls. Like, that was a shock in March Madness. So hello to Florida and FAU. But I know we're not all here to discuss basketball. We're here to discuss online lead generation. Are you guys ready?
Woo!
All right, way to get pumped up. My name is Jamie Quinzer, and I'm the Vice President of Marketing here at CINC. But more importantly, I have two experts today, Dan Lott, our Vice President of Client Marketing, and Harry Kerber, our Senior Director of Paid Social. Both individuals, Dan's been at CINC for 10 plus years, Harry 7+ years. They are the experts in the business, have tried multiple products, but today they're going to be sharing some insight on why you should diversify. We're also going to talk about some social trends and search trends that are happening, Chat GPT and all of those other fun things. Throughout the next hour, let's use the chat if you have questions. Harry, Dan, and I'll hop in, but we're so glad to have you. Harry, do you want to kick us off?
Yep, thanks.
Awesome.
I'm going to kick us off by letting Dan get started here. And Dan's the creator of the lead generation team. So there's really no one better to talk about it and to explain our focus than Dan. So yeah, I'll let you go. Dan.
Well said, Harry. All right.
Thank you.
So here's our team over there on the right. And we have a large lead generation team. Every CINC client has a dedicated account manager who is working on their accounts. And there they are at one of our events. And the goal of our department is, I always put this in every presentation, it's to generate the most high quality leads in your preferred areas for the least amount of money. The most important part of that, from our perspective and for your perspective also, is the preferred areas. If you're getting leads that are not in your area, if they are an hour from your house and you don't want to drive an hour, let us know and we can turn them off. So there should be some feedback between us.
Yeah, and I think that's a benefit of having the dedicated area managers as well. You know, we have a lot of tools that we can actually help to surface sub-markets in your main areas that are doing well based off of previous performance. You know, so if you are getting things way outside of where you want to be, you know, one of the biggest things our team does is we go in and look at, you know, a certain city or a certain market and can pull almost points of interest from within that city to target and augment your campaign and get more leads in the areas where you want them. I also want to mention this is probably the creepiest corporate picture of me. There I am right there. That's not my favorite picture. I don't know if I knew you were taking it, but anyway, we can move on.
All right. Okay.
Diversifying.
So diversifying the ad spend, just going to give an overview of how things are currently in terms of cost per lead for the different types of ads we have. Google Buyer, which is the most used ad type, we're at around $6 or $7 a lead, and that has been trending up. It was a couple years ago, we were probably around $4 a lead, and now it is rising. And the next slide will show you why it is rising. And then on the flip side is Facebook, which is going down. The cost per lead is going down, specifically a new ad type that we just launched, which we launched and it's had a very good cost per lead and very good lead quality. So we're very excited about that one. And the lead value index, which I'm sure you all know what that is, but in case you don't, that is where we, it's a number that you can tell if you go into the CINC Pro website and at the blog section, you can read more details about it, including the LVI for your market, but it takes into consideration the average home price in your area as well as the cost per lead in your area to see what is the best, which markets have the best return. Nationwide, in the US, it's $12.80 for every dollar of advertising. So based on the average commission rate, if you invest $1 in CINC advertising, you'll get $12 back. And this was data from the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter typically has the highest cost per lead. So when we, in 3 months when we run, or 2 months, or next month when I run this data again, they'll probably be around $16 a lead, because the fourth quarter has how about Toronto? Toronto has one of the best. We don't do it for Canada, but if we would, Toronto and Vancouver also have very high good lead value index ratio between the home price and the cost per lead. Cost per lead in Toronto and Vancouver are low, and the home prices in those two cities are real high. So and it's a really good one. It would probably be in around the $30 range would be my estimate. The number one is Honolulu, which has a 50 LVI, just because the homes are really expensive there and the cost per lead is pretty cheap. And it says there, the cost per lead varies by market, and your CINC representative, whether you are a current client or a prospective client, will run you through the tool. Maybe not showing you the exact numbers, but show you like which are some of the. We have a lot of custom tools that get the help us generate the cheapest leads, most affordable leads, and they can help you guide you through them just on an information basis. All right. Here is why the Google cost per lead is going up. And this is a tool that you can access. It's called Google Trends. You just type in Google Trends and it comes up. And then we use the phrase homes for sale. And that is a common search term. But one of the most common search terms is like, we're in Marietta. So do you like homes for sale in Marietta? It's a common search term. This shows that how compared to a year ago, the amount of people who are searching for the phrase homes for sale has gone down. It looks like it's around 20%. So there's a kind of a correlation, I guess a negative correlation between the number of searches and the cost per lead. So the fewer the searches, the higher the cost per lead. So that's why the cost per lead is trending higher. And you can see when I was saying that, the fourth quarter is the lowest. That's the big dip there. That's from like Thanksgiving to Christmas is when the number of searches is the lowest, and that's when the cost per lead is the highest. And then the day after Christmas is when it increases or spikes.
So yeah, we've always preached diversification in ad spend. And this was a really good example. Like the best way to make sure that you guys have a constant flow of leads is by diversifying ad spend, same as you would with the stock market. We've said this for years, but CINC, we are the biggest provider in the country. We have the most data of anyone that's doing this. So we wanted to actually find some data points on this, on which lead types should you be investing money in. Which lead types, what are the characteristics of the different lead types? So over the past, I don't know, maybe year or so, we've been surveying millions of leads from CINC sites all across the US and Canada, looking at pipeline statuses, sources, things like that. And we found some things that, are not too surprising, like Google buyer leads are the most likely lead type of any source to transact within 12 months. That's something that we've always figured would be true. We saw that borne out in the data when we went through and looked at those lead sources. We also saw some interesting things too. And so if you guys are paying attention, if you want to drop in the chat, we saw leads from what source are most likely to convert after 24 months in the CRM. So we know leads from Google are most likely to convert most quickly. I can't pull up my chat again because I'm sharing my screen. Oh. Let's see. SEO, Facebook tend to take more time. Yeah, so what we saw, CINC, yes. So what we saw was you guys were on the right path there. It's actually leads from all sources. Once they've been within the CRM for 2 years, tend to convert at a similar rate. And so that's why when we're making recommendations in terms of ad spend setup, we recommend that people diversify. We don't look as your relationship with CINC as something that's going to be a few months, sell a house or two and leave from the leads. We want to work with you long-term and help generate, an asset that you can pass on to people, or, something where you're owning your own revenue. And so when people launch, we do recommend that they launch with a mixture of ads on search and social. And this is showing the cost per lead of social over the last 6, 7, 8 months. And something that's interesting compared to the Google cost per lead is it's actually been trending downward recently. And some of that is from the way that those ads are served. You saw that on the Google side, we aren't seeing as many searches for homes for sale. And so that's driving lead cost up. On the social side, we're pushing ads to people. So that is helping with that lead cost. But a really big driver of the lead cost has been our new ad type called team listing ads. And so in February, we saw the team listing ads cost per lead was 17% better than any of the other ad types across the portfolio. And we've really been kind of pushing this ad type because we've been seeing good results from it. One of the big drivers of the overall drop in cost per lead is the percentage of spend on the social side going into team listing ads has increased over the last 6 months from about 7% of the portfolio to about 40% of the portfolio. So we're seeing a lot of adoption here. And this is what the team listing ads are. If you guys haven't heard of these by now, it's an automated listing advertisement program that promotes specifically your team's listings, hence the creative name, team listing ads, to net new leads. So people, some of you guys may think this is similar to Listcast or like Facebook real estate ads, they're called now. That's a remarketing product. With this, we're pushing these ads out to people in your market areas. And Meta is using the interests and the activities of the people in the audience to decide which homes from your team's listings are being shown to those people. So it's driving a really great cost per click, and also a CPM, which is it's cost per milli. That's the cost it takes to show the ad to 1,000 people. It's really not like it all by itself. That's not a tremendously important stat, but the way that Meta works, they want people to be on their network. They want to show people things that are valuable, that people are sending good signals back to Meta, either by liking it or clicking on it or whatever that might be. So the cost per milli for these ads is lower than any other ad type that we've been running, and it's much lower than the industry average. So that just shows that these ads are relevant to people. They are resonating and they're getting good results. And Meta as a network is seeing that and showing it to people at a lower cost, which is driving down the lead cost. So in March, up to this point, we're at $326 per lead. And yeah, automatically updating ads. They update every 24 hours. I do want to mention that as well. So if a new listing comes on or leaves the site, that will be updated automatically. And one of the biggest enhancements we've just made is we now allow leads to request a showing on the property in the ad directly from the ad. So this is what it looks like. That's my son with the big shoes. I always like to try and include someone. Anyway, this would be what a team listing ad would look like. When they click on this ad, they're going to see this form on Facebook. And we ask the question, would you like to tour this property or would you like to tour this home? If they say yes, then that creates a showing request in the CRM. And so what we've seen is leads from team listing ads are actually 20% more likely than leads from just general Facebook buyer to set an appointment within the first 90 days of registering. I think that's twofold. I think part of it is The ads themselves are very relevant. People are liking them, interacting with them, but we're also asking this additional question, which is now creating a showing request. And that helps our clients to identify, okay, this person said they're ready to go see homes. This person said they're not yet. So that helps in follow-up. And so we just recently implemented this, and we've already been seeing some really cool results that are very exciting. This is a lead from just a few days ago.
Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. All right. Sorry. I thought I was going off track. I'm on track.
You're
Okay.
on track.
So this is a lead from just a few days ago that came into one of our client sites in Canada. Came in, he said, yes, he would like to tour the home. And then that came in as an appointment and a showing request. And then I love the conversation between the lead and our client. Hey, this is a $3.5 million listing. And my favorite is his final response there at the end. Thanks, I don't need a mortgage. So this lead has been out looking at houses with our clients, and it came in very recently. So we're very excited by this progress, and we think we'll see more and more of it. We want to have more people on this ad type.
Awesome. Harry, as you were going through team listing ads, and I think this is a great place to stop, there were a couple of different questions that I wanted to highlight that maybe you could provide some answers. With team listing ads, are they added to Reels?
There are placements on Reels, yes.
Because I would imagine with the meta offerings, you guys are selecting and optimizing what are the best placements. Is that a fair statement?
We do that to an extent. I mean, really the way that the networks have gone recently is allow the algorithm to determine what makes the most sense. And that's kind of, like, that's funny. Like when I first came in, I wanted to narrow it down, but that actually constricted performance. And I remember this was years ago, but there were coaches telling people to, you want to get it down to 100, 200 people. And it's like, that doesn't work. And we've run a lot of tests trying to switch to like manual bidding and manual placements, that kind of stuff. When we do that, the lead cost usually increases when we limit the algorithm like that. So our general best practice, unless you have, there are videos or certain things that just make sense in some places. But with something like this, I want to be able to put that in front of as many people as I can for the best price that I can. So we generally leave that open to the algorithm.
Awesome. And then with team listing ads, do they need to have so many listings in order to use that product? Or if I have no listings, can I use it?
Thank you. I knew I forgot something. I don't know if somebody asked that or if you planted that, but it's a minimum of 3 active listings that we would want to see. More active listings tend to perform better. You're just giving, again, more options. Like the more options that we can give the algorithm to pull pictures, to show in the ads, to show to people that they think are looking in that area, the bigger the audience, the better it's going to perform generally. I mean, to an extent, right? But that's a whole nother webinar. Now I'm getting off track.
No, and then the final question, when you're using CINC's team listing ads, if it is my listing, if someone comes in, does that lead get assigned to me?
The way that it is right now, it goes into the normal round robin. We can direct leads to specific agents. We can also, so by default, we'll do the team's listings, but we can also limit to just pull a certain agent's listings from a site, for example. And so we could pull that agent's listings, and then we can assign every lead that is generated from that ad to that agent. So we have options there, but by default, it's going to go to round robin.
Perfect. And I know that there's Dimitri, I see your question. I will get to that. I want to make sure that we stay on team listing ads and we stay on topic. So I will get to that, saving that for the end. And the team listings ads isn't the only meta strategy. And so that's another thing that we'll talk about at the end, some other offerings, because there's individuals that say, I don't have any listing ads, like this isn't going to work. There's more for them, right? I need to keep listening.
No, you can check out. You're done.
Not true. All right. So we will get back. There are other offerings.
That was the tease. That was the tease, like the radio.
So I'm taking notes of some of these questions. Dan, I think it's now time to pass it to you. Or
Sure thing. Well, first, before we switch the slides, I just want to emphasize a couple points about this lead type. Harry said what the cost per lead was in March, and it was something like $3.50. And that is roughly a half of what it is on Google. And a year ago, the gap between the best Facebook and Google was much smaller. It's like $1, maybe $1 or $2. So it just shows that, you know, the importance of diversification and just how good these lead types are. And this thing about the adding the you know, being able to request a property tour is really compelling. And I'm not sure if Harry really emphasized this, but like this ad is going to showcase all your listings. So like if you have a client that you are currently trying to sell their house, they're going to be looking at Facebook and seeing their property all over Facebook, and they're going to get excited by that. I've sold houses before, and or my house, and sold it, and was like, what is the agent doing? If I would have seen on Facebook, oh, they must be doing a good job. So anyway, that's a good thing that's only available with this ad type, just because of its team listing ads.
And we do have a free trial. If you've never run this ad type before, you can scan that QR code or go to cincteamlistingads.com. The promo code is 2 free. I forgot to add it to the slide. That's the number 2 and then letters FREE. But if you're signing up, you know, around now, we'll know. So that's on me. But yeah, definitely give it a try. But I think the big thing here is, like, you know, we aren't saying like this ad type's great, take all your money and put it here. Like, it's really trying to illustrate the importance of diversifying that spin and having those multiple pillars of lead generation, you know, as you lead generate. I lost steam there at the end, but you know. Anyway.
All right. So I saw somebody was mentioning phone calls on one of the pop-ups, the little chat pop-ups. This is a new ad type, which isn't going to generate a lot of leads, but the leads that it will generate are great leads. They are a phone call. That's what you get. It's a phone call lead. And we have gotten, and it's all based on, let me move my little thing over here so I can actually read what I wrote. Yeah, it's, you know, the cost per lead is more expensive. It's to augment your regular lead generation. Don't get rid of your Google buyer and your team listing ads. This is a good thing. And it's all based on how many Google reviews you have. If you don't have any Google reviews, the minimum is 10 on your Google My Business page. Your ads aren't going to show at all. And even in some other places, sometimes you have 20 and they don't show either. But sometimes you get really good results. But if you don't spend it, then the money is, you know, if you're not out anything if we don't spend the money. All right, so it is ready now buyers who are searching for phrases like, you know, best real estate agent in Atlanta, Georgia, you know, realtors in, you know, Phoenix, however it is. And then that triggers a phone call, which then goes to your phone number. So you get a phone call. It's a low lead flow, but it's good to supplement your main spend. You might not get any leads in a month, but that means you didn't spend anything. But then, like, we have access to the dashboards. We're able to see how many calls we'll get, and some people get, you know, 30. So it's just depends on, you know, how competitive your market is and how many Google reviews you have. And one other thing that's good about this is something you could do on your own. But one of the services CINC provides is that we handle the lead dispute. So if somebody calls up and doesn't want to buy a house or is not interested in real estate and they're just a spammer, we can dispute that so you don't have to pay the $30. This is, and unlike all the other ad types, this is by call. It's not like, hey, you're giving us a budget. This is, you know, $30. Depending on the market, it's $30. And if you get 4 phone calls, it's $120 or wherever it is. All right.
Another note on the reviews, I think aside from there being the base level that you have to have for it to function, like if you look at the results that are on this slide, it's also that you're competing with people, you know, that have a lot of reviews. So think about how you might behave when doing a search. You know, if you see two people that have 4 to 5 star reviews and one person has 12 reviews and one person has 800, you know, I think you're going to be more likely to go with that larger reviewed person. So I think that's another big part of the reviews also, or, you know.
Yeah, there's a question, and I know that there's other services that do similar things like local service ads. When someone is using local services at CINC, do they own their business profile? Their Google?
You own your Google My Business profile. Yeah, that's always yours.
Got it.
And then one other thing, not having to do with the LSA ads, but somebody I saw posted about Google and whether the leads are shared between clients. We do not do that. We never do that with any of our ads. You keep your ad. It's your lead. The lead is yours. We don't share. I know some other companies do that, not us. It's yours. But I think on the next slide, we have an example of one of these phone calls. If we can, fingers are crossed, let's see how it goes.
I'm calling from Connecticut. My fiance and I have been looking for a vacation home in Florida. We've looked all around from West Coast to East Coast. We actually just saw a house that came available a couple hours ago in St. Cloud. We looked up some realtors, did a little research. You had a 5-star in every review. Everyone talked very highly of you, so we chose you for our realtor. We're very interested in looking at this house. When you get a chance, give us a call back.
Then he goes on to give phone number, and we cut that out then.
So that's what you can get. It's it's $30 to $60 depending on the market, but that's, we've looked up at that person's they've already arranged, I think they've arranged a meeting and things like that. The lead, depending on the lead, it gets it may or may not go into your dashboard depending on how it's set up. If you use a CINC phone number, it does go into your dashboard. If you don't, then it doesn't. But so we're able to track, how these go along in the process. So something like that. It's a very, that's a good use of $30 to $60. And this is one of our clients in Phoenix who says, I don't mind paying a little higher for low hanging fruit. Exactly what I was hoping for when we started running these ads. Very motivated and ready to go. And unlike every other type of ad, it's all, it's limited by things that are outside of our control, the amount of leads you can get, unfortunately, but get more Google reviews. And we also provide consulting as to James on our team, has produced some white papers and things like that on how to optimize your Google My Business page, Google Business Profile page to get, more feedback or more positive feedback from people clicking on your ads. And if you are a CINC client and you want to try this type of ad, use that QR code. And one of the things, did I say
Sorry.
what's it called? It's a QR
You're right.
code.
No, you're right. You're
Okay.
right. You're right.
All right. So the way we run it is we establish a benchmark for how much you can spend in an area. And so the first month is free. We see like, oh, they've gotten approximately, $200 worth of clicks. So then the next month, we'll pay for the first month, and the next month we'll start charging for it. But
I was just afraid I'd put the wrong URL on there, but it's not. It is cinklsa.com. I don't like QR codes. I don't do them. I just make them. But
it's a good looking one.
Anyway, I felt like I needed to share that. Everything's right on the slide.
All right, so those were 2 of the new ad types that we've launched, but in general, we have a lot of different ad types. As Jamie mentioned, we're not supposed to just focus on those 2. It's good to diversify. And so here they are. So for both Meta and Google, you can do Google buyer and seller. And Listcast. Do you want to talk about your Listcast and some of the other ones, Harry?
Yeah, sure. So like Dan said, buyer and seller on Meta, which is fancy for Facebook and Instagram. We can also do recruiting ads through there. And we do a lot of custom advertising as well for different loan programs, things like that. If you have something like that you're interested in, just reach out to your CINC account manager or your specialist that you guys are talking to them if you're not a client yet. Listcast is our dynamic remarketing program. So this takes the properties that people are searching on your site and creates automatically generated ads, which show them properties that are similar to what they're searching for. And it really has two main points of emphasis. One is, about 85% of the people that hit your site the first time don't sign up. That means 15% do, which is really high compared to industry standards, but still about 85% are not signing up. So Listcast will retarget those people and try to bring them back. And then, as we've seen, these leads are converting all these leads are converting at a similar rate within 2 years. Listcast is helping to nurture those people over that 2-year standpoint that they might be in the CRM or however long it might take. Team listing ads, we talked about that. That's one of our newer ad types, so we'd really recommend that you guys do if you have 3 active listings. Won't talk much more on that. The brand advertising, this is the more traditional remarketing service with your logo, your face, your tagline. We don't see a lot of leads being generated from this, but it is a good add-on because it can help to warm people up to your call after they've registered on your site. They'll go and look at homes and then they'll see your face, your business everywhere. And then when you call them, that will help to familiarize them with you. And then local services ads, which I still want to call local service ads, but I guess it makes sense. But local services ads, which we just talked about as well, unless you want to add anything to that, Dan.
No, and each of these ad types, we've created a one-pager for each of them. So if you're interested in one, you want some more information, just ask your account manager and they will gladly send along a packet that has all these different ad types and all that, the pros and cons of everything.
Alrighty.
All right.
Before you guys jump into this, I know that there's a couple people jumping or have other conflicts, and I just want to say that we are sending the recording. But one of the other questions was regarding I'm not able to get a hold of my leads, or I'm having trouble connecting with leads. And my recommendation is if you go to cincommunity.com, we have ongoing webinars. We're doing some virtual scripting and power hours. Some more information is coming. I appreciate one of our clients, JD, hopped in and said, you've got to stay the course. It's repetition and consistency. It takes 8 to 10 calls on average to reach a lead. Don't give up and keep calling. Thank you, JD. But it will also include details. And so the leads, you still have to do the work to connect. But without further ado, I'll pass it back over to Dan. I just wanted to make sure that we send out that link because the leads don't make you money if you don't call them.
So true, Jamie. All right, so we have looked into the past, and now we're going to look into the future of what. Yeah, how about that? All right.
I like that.
Okay, so here's just a couple things because there's been a lot of stuff in the news about just changes to, the internet and just services that things provide, specifically the AI stuff. And so I just wanted to give an overview of where we are now and where CINC thinks things are going to go in the future, specifically how it relates to real estate lead generation, which is not, it's very important to me and to you guys, but maybe in the whole realm of things, it probably isn't the most important thing in the world, but this is how we think it goes for us. All right, so right now, so it's 2023 has potential to be a landmark year in all advertising types across search and social. It's been very, there hasn't been a lot of activity, honestly, in the last couple of years. Google has monopoly on the search industry, and they have around 90% of all online searches. So they pretty much control it all. There's Bing and, DuckDuckGo and things like that. But really, you're able to get almost all the clicks just by working with Google. And that's why CINC focuses its efforts and its spend on Google. And we use things like Bing, but honestly, the results are better in Google. So we don't force anything on Bing because why do that when the results aren't going to be as good. So, but why might this change? Why might 2023 be a landmark year? All right. So you've all heard about ChatGPT, and soon this is going to power Bing search or be included on Bing search. And this, Bing has spent something, it was $10 billion on it on OpenAPI, or 20 billion. I've seen different numbers. So they think it's going to have an impact on their business. And theoretically, it should increase the market share of people who use Bing if it works. We have a lot of proponents in our office who are like, oh my God, this is the best thing in the world. And then they'll do all these, write poems and stuff like that using Bing. But is that going to help the search engine results? Is it going to be any different than Google? But Bing is investing heavily. Microsoft is investing heavily in this. And so it should increase the market share. Will it be, it's going to increase it somewhat. If it's now 10% or 5% or whatever Bing is it going to be 20%? It's going to be 30%.
Yeah,
and
at least a bump at the beginning.
The what?
I said at least a bump at the beginning.
At least a bump, yeah. People are going to try at the beginning. It's in beta now. I've signed up to use it. And we're still at the beginning. And, if you remember back before Google, there was all these companies, Alta Vista and Lycos and Excite, all these like things that are punchlines now, like, or all like whatever they were. And then, so like, I just saw there's a company called Andy Search. I saw on my search engine lands that was a new search engine just launched that's based on the AI, chat capabilities and things like that. So theoretically, Google started out just as one of these X-Sites or Lycos. I remember it came out a couple of years later, but maybe Andy Search could be like the big player in 5 years. You don't know. So, we're at the beginning of something that will have, Bing is going to get, as Harry said, Bing's going to get a bump. Is it going to be prolonged? If it's going to be huge, will it be enough to trigger an investment in overhauling all of the process of lead generation? That's what it is. So we're monitoring it to see, and we had discussions with our tech team about like how long will it, when we decide to go into invest heavily into Bing based on it's gotten a lot more search, how long will it take us to do that? And so it's not as hard as I would have thought, but we have a good tech team. That's why we're going to talk about that a little bit. But all right, so that's one thing, is that the ChatGPT.
Well, and there's also too, like even with a new player that would come in, there's scalability on their side to allow for someone to run ads at scale. Like that's a lot of what you're seeing too. And I don't know about you guys, but when we explore new networks on the social side, a lot of stuff looks great, but just the management of it hasn't been developed from the ad side, right? So like if you're going to have someone who's going to be a player like a Google, they're going to have to develop that infrastructure as well that Google has to run ads and all that different stuff.
And then the other potential major player is Apple. And currently Google pays Apple to be their search engine provider on their phones. But Apple is in the process of doing something regarding a search engine. Will it be a conventional search engine like Google? Will it be a competitor? Will it be a partner? Something like Alexa that could augment what Google does? And when will it be implemented? Will it be this year? I also saw it could be 4 years now. So it's not, this isn't an easy thing to create. So even Apple will take years and years to, create this. But if it is determined, like Apple mobile, I'm going to guess that it's approximately 2/3 of our traffic right now is on mobile for Google. And that actually, that's pretty, yeah. So that's what it is. Yeah. And it's probably like 28% on desktop, and then the rest is on tablets. So what percent of mobile is Apple? If it's half, then you're looking at 1/3 of all search traffic going to a new Apple search engine. So when that happens, if that happens, we're going to have to do something about it. And So it's just making things a lot more complicated. And so before, when it was just, as it currently is, it's just, now it's Google and it's Meta, and that's it. But in the future, it most likely will be a lot more diversified, which I think is a good thing. Just in general, more competition.
When you could learn, I mean, talking about Apple shifting search traffic, I mean, Apple made a huge update a year or two ago for iOS 14.5 that was a really impacted audience tracking and that kind of stuff. And that, that's a good example. We took a decent sized hit in being able to track people on Apple devices. But, going back to the tech team, we've worked with them to, set things up the way that they need to be set up with Meta to continue to track those people. So, we were able to quickly adapt. But it was, if Apple makes a change like that, it is something that's felt, I mean, we felt that change.
And then what it means. All right. So all the companies that are coming into it are doing it to make money. And the way all these, tech companies, like, oh, Google's this great tech company. They make all their money off of ads. Like they do this other stuff, but they make all their money off of ads. Facebook is this great company. Oh, they got this metaverse. Oh, it's sensational. They make all their money off of ads.
We got to pay for the metaverse. The metaverse is expensive, Dan.
Yes, so they make it all on ads. So these new tools will incorporate ads, whether it's a Bing search engine that has a cool little paragraph of that AI has come up with. Below it is going to be links, and you're going to be paying for clicking on those links. So there's still going to be ads. And then one thing for real estate is MLS compliance concerns. We spend a lot of our efforts, not me personally, but our company spends a lot of time working with MLSs to make sure that we are compliant with their regulations. If an AI comes out, or ChatGPT or whatever it is that says, write a story that talks about all the different houses that are for sale in Sandy Springs, that's not going to be compliant with an MLS, and they could get in trouble. So I think that's one of the things that will hamper the growth of AI with real estate in the near term. And then, so trust in CINC. As we said, we're the largest in this industry, largest real estate tech ad spend in North America. We spend around $30 million a year on advertising. Something like we were talking about the number of leads. I believe we are now, the number of leads we generated over the last 10 years, it's bigger than every state than California. So we have generated a lot of leads. We have lots of data. We have a lot of technology. It's the team. It was those guys who are on the field in that weird photograph. And then we also have a tech team that is even larger. And we are growing the tech team. Other companies out there are slashing their tech departments, but we are not. We are adding to our tech department so that when the decision is made that we are going to invest heavily into Bing and invest heavily into Apple because we think we can get a better cost per lead on those and do better leads, we will be able to do it. Other people are going to be forced to do it manually, which is not, when we started, we did everything manually. And then now it's all using these very complex tools and then manually looking at all these really complex tools. It's not like none of it's like turn it on and forget it. It's all there. It's all based on it. But there's complex tools which allow us to do lots of things. But it's because we have a tech team that's able to build this. And so, that's why company. Okay, I think I covered everything. I can't see the little things over the thing, but yeah, we are the biggest in it and we invest in it. So that's important. All right. Do you want to do this slide?
Sure. Yeah. No, so that's all that we had, for the day today. I'm happy to stick around and do some questions. If you guys want to learn more about CINC, please visit our demo page at cincpro.com/request-a-demo. It is very important if you are a CINC client that that you have a dedicated marketing manager for your account who is familiar with your market area. And you can reach out to them if you're having difficulties with the leads or any questions like that, want recommendations, anything like that, please reach out to us. You can set that up through your account manager. And then, yeah, Jamie mentioned CINC community earlier. That's a huge resource that, I think is not as known about as it should be. They have great calls, from the CINC live team, John Marone, Christine Dunn. They do weekly live role play calls, archived webinars, all kind of stuff. Definitely check that out. And then, yeah, if you have anything else, we're around 9:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. Support at cincpro.com and 855-246-2717. Feel like it's a great day at CC's Pizza Griffin. This is Harry. That was a past life.
Oh, and if you've never had the pleasure of meeting Harry and Dan in person, they are even better in person than virtual.
So stop by the office. We're here sometimes, and we'll be glad to see you.
Awesome.
I'm actually an AI. I'm an AI. So.
I want to thank each of you guys for joining today. If you have any questions, if they are specific or general questions that we can all hop into, feel free to use that chat. There have been some one-off questions, and we'll pass those along to account managers in our team. I love the recommendations. There are a couple ideas on improving our registration and lead capture. So those ideas are one of the many things that make CINC great. Harry and Dan, we finished in less than an hour. This is also a record.
Yeah.
I have another question I want to answer. Somebody had said, I'm going to try to stretch this for another 13 minutes, but
we're gonna go over.
Somebody had said,
one I saw.
Can you have request a appointment or request a showing based on for a Google lead? So somebody registering on Google, and that's something that we are about to roll out this spring. We are testing something like that. That is a great idea. So I am very enthusiastic for that, but we'll see. But that was good. It's a good question because it is something that we're doing. So that's good.
Patrick asked how much a dedicated marketing manager costed. So the way that our team is set up, we've got 15, 16 people that work on the marketing, the client marketing side all day, every day. That's all we do. A small group of us, or smaller group of us, is on the social side because that's the smaller portion of the spend. But within the Google side, we've got a new launch team that manages the launch of your site for the first 3 to 4 months. They're specialized in managing new campaigns because there's a whole set of issues that are specific to new campaigns that aren't specific to more established campaigns. And then once they've managed that for, is it 4 months, Dan? Do you know, 3 to 4?
Yeah, it's either 3 or 4.
Yeah. So right around that mark, they'll turn the campaign over to the regional manager, who is one of 5 or 6 people that just manage accounts within a certain area of the US and Canada. So that's not an additional cost. You can send emails in, request calls with that person on certain, on specific topics. There's not an additional cost for that. I mean, we want to make your ad spend as efficient as we can. We make money when you make money, just to be honest. So we want to apply our expertise to your campaign, with as few barriers as we can.
Awesome. And we had a couple lenders. A lot of our clients are real estate agents and team leaders. There were a couple lenders joining us. Please, lenders, you can also access the CINC community. I'll pass along your contact information as well for some follow-up training. But lenders and partners are just as important as our real estate partners as well at CINC. There was some additional product feedback. Love that, Rod. I'll make sure to pass it along to our VP of product and specifically our iOS team. So thank you for sending that. It looks like what we do have coming up later this spring is CINC Rev. And now, as I mentioned, lenders, there's going to be a few more that start chatting in. What I'll pass along to the team is we'll need to do some lender training. There's some really neat things. There's a member of our team, his name is Eric. who could help with some of that lender training. What am I missing? Any other questions, comments? Dan or Harry, do you have any advice on advertising budgets, or if I need to know how many leads, or what should my advertising budget look like at CINC?
All right. Well, that's a great question, Jamie. There is some specific numbers that I have forgotten what they are. Maybe Harry will be able to chime in with them. But in general, that the lead value index, it indicates that, like, when we initially ran this, we were stunned by how much money in commissions people get when we factor in the percent of leads that close and all that. So depending on how many people you have on your team, it's better to spend more on advertising, just because there's a 12 times return of $1 will generate $12 in commission. So Harry, what was the number of how many leads a person is an agent supposed to get?
Per agent, I don't remember specifically. I know that's something that's on CINC community. But I don't know if you guys, whoever is on still, saw Alvaro's webinar the past month, but he did some really interesting analysis of, there are times where someone would cut back on, $500 a month in ad spend, and, that's 6,000 in a year, right? Carry the 5. Yep. Okay. So, but so they saved 6,000, but by saving 6,000, they missed out on another 80,000 in expected commission or something like that. So, I mean, my advice would be, in terms of ad spend, definitely diversify it. I hope you knew I would say that at this point, but definitely diversify it. But you should spend what you can handle in terms of lead intake, I think. And spending more, also everything is on an auction basis, so spending more also helps you to be more competitive in those auctions. So
awesome. And if my memory serves me correct, is around 50 leads per agent. 40 to 50 leads per agent was the recommendation, which I know is a lot. But that is why it's just not the leads at CINC, it's the conversion platform and the CRM and the automations with CINC AI, Alex, and all those things that allow our clients to make money and see an ROI that's healthy for their business.
We did get the question, are Google leads sent to our platform, sent to another agent as well? Just to make sure, Dan, I think covered that earlier, but the campaign budget that you give us is put into your specific campaign. All the links in that campaign drive specifically to your site. So, I mean, we do see, it's possible you could have someone in a city that signs up on more than one site, but when a lead signs up, they're doing it on your site from your specific ad spend. We're not taking a lead and sending it to 5 people or anything like that.
Thank you for clarifying.
That's important. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Dan and Harry, you dropped some knowledge bombs on us. So thank you for diving into team listing ads, local service ads, and giving us some perspective on the changing market of search in the years to come with AI and technology. To all of our clients that joined us, I appreciate you spending some time and learning a bit more. Reach out to your account manager if you want to spend some time with a member of Dan and Harry's team. And if you're not currently a CINC client, reach out to cincpro.com, request-a-demo. We'd love to have a further conversation with you. This has been recorded. We'll be sending the recording later this week. Dan, Harry, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jamie.
Well, thanks.
Awesome,
thanks for
always.
having us.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one.